Hi everybody, my name is Robert Seigan. This is for ISA 4220 for Professor Green. Today we're going to be talking about POP3 and SMTP. Alright, first let's talk about POP3. What does POP3 stand for? Well, POP3 is a mail protocol for receiving mail. It the acronym is Post Office Protocol version 3. That's why it's POP3. Some background information on it. The first version of POP was created in 1984, with the POP2 revision created in 1985. Then from there in 85, we went to POP3, which is the current version, and it still remains one of the most popular versions of this protocol. There's been some speculation of creating POP4, but no one has really gone into developing POP4, and they're pretty much just sticking with POP3. Why use POP3? Um, POP3 is good for like low bandwidth access for remote computers. So basically, engineers created a POP in the effort to create a dead simple way of downloading copies of emails for offline reading. So what it does is that if you had very low bandwidth, back when we had modems. I don't know if anybody remembers them, but back when we had modems and we couldn't get on the internet that fast, this was a good protocol for that time. You could get online, download all your emails, and you wouldn't have to, have traffic passing back and forth constantly retrieving emails. You download it right to your hard drive. It would store on your hard drive, and while it was downloading to your hard drive, it'd be deleting the emails as you downloaded them. So this way you can view them offline. You don't have to be online all the time to see your emails. Um, it's good on the fact that it saves space on the server and that you always constantly have a list of your emails locally on your hard drive. Um, Bad things about it is that, if you do happen to have a problem with your hard drive, it crashes. That's why they always ask you to back up that one file in Outlook. It has all your emails on it, because if your hard drive were to take a dump or crash, then you would lose all your emails because they're not on the server anymore. Um, and also the other downfall to it is that if you go to an offsite and use somebody else's computer, you just can't go on and see your emails because you've already downloaded them and they're on that one machine. Um, POP3 goes out on port 110 and also on port 995. This is the default POP3 non-encrypted port, which is port 110. I would definitely not use port 110 if you can help it, of course, because it's unencrypted and you don't want to be your emails going out or you're receiving emails and somebody sniffing the packets and receiving your emails and seeing what's being said through emails, especially if you're in a highly secure job. So you definitely want to use port 995. This is the port you need to use when you want to connect on POP3 to a secure connection, so no one's snooping on your emails. When it comes to best practices for POP3, there's a few things you can do for the best practices. One is definitely use port 995 to make sure you have a secure POP3 connection and no one's snooping in on your emails and trying to, steal them, pull them down. That's one. You also want to make sure you enable TLS, which is Transport Layer Security, while you are using port 995. To the right over here is a nice little screenshot I got, and it shows you how to put those options in, what port to use, and make sure you're enabled TLS. The other thing you might want to think about considering is the Exchange server itself uses a self-assigned certificate to secure the message transmission. As a result of this, you have to configure your email client to access Exchange server over a secure connection. It's a good idea to remove the self-assigned certificate after you install Exchange with a trusted certificate from a certified authority, or with the certificate from the trusted third party like CA certificate authority. You definitely want to go ahead and do that. That's probably the best thing you can do for best practices with POP3. Next, we're going to talk about SMTP. Um, what is SMTP? Um, SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It's a standard protocol for sending email across the internet. A little bit of background information on SMTP. SMTP itself is a application layer protocol. It uses TCP as a transport protocol, and in turn uses IP for routing. Much like HTTP, the SMT protocol has a number of status codes to enhance its functionality. These status codes are used to relay specific conditions between the client and the server. So SMTP, if you see the nice little diagram I have off to the side here, it's basically when you have your email set up on your computer and you're typing out an email, SMTP will send it to the server and then through the internet, and then it picks it up, the POP3, from the other client who's pulling down the email. Their POP3 will go ahead and pull it down to them. Ports. SMTP uses port 25. This is the default SMTP. It's a non-encrypted port, so it's not encrypted, which means if somebody wants to sniff and see and like packet filtering, it can take down your emails and take a look at see what you're writing. There is port 2525. This port is open on all SiteGround servers in case port 25 is filtered. And you want to send non-encrypted emails with SMTP. Port 465. This port is used. This is your secured SMTP port. So this is the port you'd want to use all the times when you want to send, classified, or if you don't want anybody to see it or snooping around on you. If you want to send a secured email, this is something that you want to use on port 465. SMTP also does use commands such as AUTH for authenticate or extended hello. These commands are the way the email client and server talk to each other. So that's one thing the SMTP does do, that it does have, is that it does have commands to communicate back and forth between, the user's PC and the server. Best practices for SMTP. It's always good to limit the size of the emails that can be sent out. You don't want to have them too big. Also, encryption, of course. Always good practice to use proper encryption. You want to use TLS encryption, like I said before, with POP3, the transport layer security. And of course, you always want to, push your emails out onto port 465, which is the secured port. Also, you do want to set up alerts with SMTP for authentication for login failures. So you could see if someone's trying to log into an account, and you can, take the necessary means to fix it. Authentication. You can use SMTP authentication to allow remote users to send emails using your MTA. Using SMTP authentication can introduce increased security risks if appropriate steps are not taken to ensure secure communication. So that's probably one thing you can do is make sure you set up authentication and allow remote users to use it. Another thing you can do is to set up outbound filter policies, and this pretty much configuring and enabling outbound filter policies that protects against spam.